There's one thing that I know every jtoh player loves doing, and it's debating about their absolutely worthless opinions, which is exactly what I'm going to do here. However, there's one crucial difference. My opinions are factual. Recently, I completed my final terrifying, Inception.
Come on. Yes!
So I thought I'd show everyone the correct ranking for each terrifying, based on my own personal bias. Come on. Oh, there's another one. Come on. Yes! 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 Despite what I've said, I'm well aware that opinions are subjective, but I think ToI is genuinely objectively bad. I know a lot of people like this tower, but even they, I believe, can agree it's bad. The tower is low effort, and therefore bad. If jtoh wasn't a game with standards and creation, this wouldn't really matter. However, jtoh does have standards, which ToI doesn't meet. Now, I want anyone who disagrees with me to look at me and tell me that this is quality gameplay. It's like 50 quarter studs in a row. Do you think that this belongs in jtoh? Now, what about this? This is just walking and healing 3 times. How about this? This is a structure copy and pasted 50 times. Or maybe this, where you wait and sit around and do nothing for 8 minutes. Overall, ToI just feels like a tower that doesn't really want to be played. As if the repetitive gameplay wasn't repulsive enough, the entire second half of the tower is filled with GBJs, and the tower also loves to use traps everywhere. Very, very mean traps. However, none of this is nearly as mean as this tower's use of button progress. This tower loves to make you do parts twice, once for a button and once to pass them, and then take away the button right in front of you. Here's another example. Remember that if you fall into the kill bricks, it will also take away your button. The tower also loves to do this with this stupid walking mechanic with a roof above you that is extremely unfun. It loves to make you walk back and forth, and then immediately take away your buttons as soon as you either pass it or fall. Probably worth mentioning they're all in some way over a GBJ. Now, I don't think that ToI is the worst thing to ever exist. I like the gimmick with the smaller frame and the bigger one. Some of the floors in the second half have sections that aren't completely bad, and the music is overall pretty good. But that doesn't stop this tower from being absolutely terrible. I would not recommend beating it.
Too fast, come on. Nice, we did it!
Have pollination.
Yes!
Nice!
Let's go!
GG.
Wait, what happened?
Yes! Just say free OIM in chat.
Yes!
Jesus Christ.
Oh. Welcome to ToIM, the only tower so boring and has to share a zipline with strategic mechanics. Okay, jokes aside, this tower is generally known for 2 things: misalignments and easy. And I promise I'm not being an EO. This tower's gameplay is already not very hard, and it can be plunged down into the extremes if you're not afraid to use some skips. Anyways, I'm not lying when I say this tower is known for its misalignments. There are so many misalignments. These misalignments make this tower feel really lazy and inconsistent. Perhaps the most notable inconsistency in this entire tower is the music choices. This tower starts off with a pretty nice song, and then it continues with a Kevin MacLeod track that builds tension. It continues building this tense atmosphere by playing a very climactic song from Celeste, followed by another very intense song. And it just ruins all of that by playing this. This is one of the hardest floors in the tower, by the way. Anyways, after that catastrophe, the song choices tend to get a lot better. However, I do want to bring up the one that you're hearing right now, which is the floor 7 song. It is literally a 20-second song that does not loop. I have no idea why they might have even picked this. At least the song picks for 8, 9, and 10 are really good. The 10 one is the one that I've been using for background music for this part. Alright, enough ranting about the music. Now let's talk about something more meaningful, like this tower's gameplay. Overall, it has your normal purist rap spam gameplay, which I'm quite fond of. It's kind of fun. However, I do want to bring up whatever it is that you're seeing on screen right now. This tower has a bunch of these. One on 1, 2, 4, 6, and 9. These things are so bad. There's a way to walk across them, but I don't remember what it is. And it takes a while to set up. And you can also kind of jump across them like this, but sometimes you just slip off. This is not the only way this tower uses wedges. A lot of the hardest jumps in this tower are only hard because of the way they're set up, with wedges. There's a bunch of other odd things this tower has. For example, this really thin ladder that drops you sometimes, or those big black insta-kills in the corner of the tower that exist for some reason. You can see them below me in this clip. Overall, I didn't really hate this tower too much, but I did beat it with skips, so take that with a grain of salt. It's kind of bad because there's a lot of inconsistencies in the way this tower was made, and it overall feels really lazy. I wouldn't recommend doing this as a first terrifying, because, well, I don't call it free OIM for no reason. It would be kind of lame. Unless you beat it legit, but then you're just not going to have any fun. However, if you're an EO, this is a pretty fun tower. Just, like, go LHJ everything, I guess. I don't know, have fun. Oh my god. Let's go. Let's
GG.
go!
GG.
I told you beat it.
Good job, Octagon. You beat a mid insane.
Honestly, between this and ToIM, I don't actually know which one's better. Probably because I skipped all of both of them. Like, literally, this tower has so many skips, and I don't think it has any checkpoints because it's impossible to get kicked. Here, look, watch this. Well, that's about what you would expect from an old tower. It really shows what they did and did not know back then. Because with any LHJ, you can kind of just skip most of any old tower. Another thing that they didn't know back then is what good, hard gameplay looked like, which is probably why the 3 oldest Terrifyings are at the bottom of this list. But, like, genuinely, what were they thinking back then? Well, good and easier towers around my era usually just use one client object at a time. So let's just combine 3 of them. Now that's some good terrifying gameplay. This tower actually for real has some of the dumbest gameplay though. We got intense truss gameplay, tightrope with right angles, tightrope with jumps, ToIM wedge thingy, final outside made only out of challenging gameplay, whatever this thing is on 4-2. This weird tilting platform garbage. And the mechanism, the contraption, whatever this thing is that you saw earlier. I love this thing. So this tower actually used to have a gameplay star. Anyways, aside from that ridiculous gameplay, this tower might actually be the worst balanced SC in the game. Like, I'm talking like TUDC level balancing. On the screen now, you'll see the estimated difficulty of each floor in the tower, according to 3 different popular guide makers in the community. You can see how a large majority of this tower is extremely easy. Like, when I was like Remska, I'd probably have gotten to the purple floors. But it gets really hard near the end. This makes this tower, like, extremely annoying to grind, because every time you fall, you have to play, like, some boring, easy gameplay for a while before you can get back to the actual fun, hard stuff. Overall, this tower is a lot like ToIM. If you're gonna beat it, do it with skips, because it nerfs it down to insane. Please don't beat it as a first terrifying. I beat everything past this legit, I promise, I promise, I promise, I promise, I promise, I promise, I promise.
Oh god, I don't know why you did it like that. You could have. Okay, you win.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! I did it! I did it! Oh my god! Oh my god! I did it! Oh my god! I never. Oh, I'm done with taunts. I'm free. I'm free. Oh my god! Oh my god! I did it! I did it! Oh my god! You have to beat Tons. 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 Alright, well, welcome to the first actually fun terrifying on this list. From here on out, I beat all of the towers with no major skips. I only used skips on the previous ones because they're so bad. Anyways, to my knowledge, this tower is pretty old, but it has a lot of really fun gameplay mechanics, and I like it quite a lot. For example, there's this magnifying glass that can see through fake platforms, and there's also this interesting coil thing and a bunch of cool spinner usages. This tower is also notorious for its final stretch, but I'm gonna be honest, it's really not that hard. It's really just a matter of nerve control. Floor 10 is so much harder and it's just as punishing. That's the real problem in my opinion. So yeah, overall this is just a really solid tower with no major flaws, just great gameplay all around. Oh wait. So you know the saying, time flies when you're having fun? That's also true in reverse, cause 2 hours of loop failing the second half and 20 minutes of loop filling the first 3 floors feels like the same amount of time. These floors actually have me feeling like I'm in a sensory deprivation chamber. They have repetitive jumps, dark drab colors, slow and uninteresting music, and they are way too easy for a terrifying. You might think these floors are no problem, since they're relatively easy. However, you are wrong. These floors contain multiple difficulty spikes, such as this trash momentum jump. It is extremely chokeable, and since these floors drag on for so long, you have to replay like 5 minutes of gameplay that doctors recommend as a replacement for melatonin. These floors are essentially so easy that they become hard. Low difficulty causes overconfidence, which causes rushing, which causes you to fall. I remember being caught in loop fills on these first 4 floors for like over 2 hours. They are so annoying. But Octagon, isn't there button progress for the first floors that you unlock later that skips them so they're not as long and boring? That's a great point. There is actually button progress, and that would solve the problem for these awful floors if it wasn't for the fact that the button progress is absolutely useless! Like, look at floor 3. This is probably the worst floor in the beginning. It has the most choke points, and it is the longest. And the button progress on this floor skips nothing. It skips like 7 jumps, and they're all easy. It doesn't do anything! Don't get me wrong, I really do like this tower. The second half is genuinely quite enjoyable. The problem is just that the first 4 floors are genuinely like juke gameplay with no CCOs, the most boring thing you could possibly imagine. I wouldn't recommend this as a new hardest because it's only fun if you can get far consistently, but it's definitely a good tower to play to help build nerve control due to its punishing nature and length. Also, did you know this tower has no trusses or ladder flicks? I just really wanted to shoehorn that fact in here. It's over! Oh my god! I beat it! Yes! Yes! Oh my god! It's over! Yes! Yes! Oh my god! Oh my god! I beat it! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Yes! Yeah! Oh my god! I'm gonna be honest, I kind of just woke up yesterday and this tower was terrifying now. So I'm gonna keep this pretty short because I'm not sure if they'll keep it terrifying. Remember when ToEI was terrifying for like 2 weeks? Anyways, I've been saying for a long time that there's 2 scenarios. This tower is terrifying and ToEI is peak extreme, or ToEI is high extreme and this tower is peak extreme. Because they're not the same difficulty. This one is way harder. I guess they finally picked one. Overall, I did like this tower. The gameplay's pretty good. It is very loop hill heavy. The floors in the second half have so much to save on, and they're very difficult, so you end up just playing the same floor over and over. But, I mean, it's alright. I do like the last floor. It does have, like, the Astral Fusion gimmick, where you have, like, 4 lives. Pretty fun. This tower is the final tower in the trilogy of ToIF, ToCR in itself, and I like how it references the previous 2 towers in its final stretch. Now, I'm sure there's people who are like high extreme skill out there wondering if this is the new best first terrifying since it's baseline terrifying. And honestly, if it fits your skill set, it is. But like, something like ToCap could be better if you're more like client object heavy, you know? Honestly, I'm not personally sure if this is terrifying or not. I'm just gonna say that it is so I can move on. Alright, bye. Next segment will be better. Oh my god! Oh my god! Yes! Yes! I never have to play that again! Yes! 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 Oh my god, yes! I'm so done with that tower! Oh my god! Yes! Okay, I think that's enough of that video. But seriously, this tower took me so much longer than it had the right to, and I still don't know why that is. Anyways, this tower is known for being short in height. Believe it or not, it's actually average length due to cramped gameplay and its many outsides. I've always been a fan of wacky frame towers because I like to see how the builders adapt their gameplay to fit the shape of the frame, and micromanagement does this flawlessly. Micromanagement is extremely compact, which generally people really hate. For example, 100 MR. But no one complains that micromanagement gameplay is too compact because it's executed extremely well. There's just enough breathing room for it to be generally well enjoyed. To show you how perfect micro is, I will bring up Citadel of Increasing Claustrophobia. If you've played this, you know it's not very claustrophobic. Most of its gameplay is outside, especially when the Citadel is smaller, and it uses that open space to the fullest of its ability. As a result, the tower feels very open. While micromanagement also has an outside on every floor, it manages to make its gameplay outside feel exactly the same as the gameplay inside. While COIC uses its space to its advantage, Micro doesn't even realize it has extra space. Even 8 outside doesn't break this feeling. Perfectly executed gimmick throughout the whole tower. However, there's one major downside of any small frame, and it's how prevalent skips are. Micromanagement relies on these progress thief bricks to ensure that its gameplay cannot be cheesed. While these generally work pretty well, they're also a complete nuisance. Basically, 90% of the time you fall, there's no hope of saving yourself. You just go back to wherever the last group of progress thief bricks takes you. You get no control, and it makes it monotonous because you end up just playing specifically the first part of 3 like 30 million times. That, or you just fall outside and lose it all immediately. Speaking of outsides, that's another problem in this tower. The progress thief bricks tend not to be too punishing, and there's even 2 nets in this tower, one at 6 and one at 9. The only reason this tower is still terrifying with these nets in it is because of the final stretch and 8 outside. I just want you to admire 8 outside for a minute before we continue. You tell me why that's a problem. Most of the time playing this tower is spent on 1 to 5, and then you get stuck at 6 to 7 for a little bit before failing 8 out. If you don't get to fail 8 out, you win the absolute honor of getting stuck on 9 for a bit before dying on 10. Alright, so, should you beat this? Honestly, yeah, it's a pretty good first or second terrifying. But I just want to remind you that if you're considering this as a first terrifying, I strongly advise that you play all your options before locking one in. There's a good chance that this tower doesn't fit your skill set, or maybe you just don't like it. There's always other options. But if you do pick to go for this, I really hope you like Dex Arson music. Bro makes the least re-listenable music ever, bro. I never want to hear another one of his songs after I beat this, bro. Oh my god, stupid high-pitched noises.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh! Oh my god! 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 Yes! Yes! Oh my god! Yes! Yes! Oh my god! I finally... Yes!
Alright, so, this was my first terrifying, and I hadn't played it since I beat it back in summer 2023, so I forgot a lot about it. I had to play a segment of it for the gameplay that I used in the background, and it all came back to me. This tower is incredible. The gameplay is very fun from start to finish. It might seem a little bit janky, but it's actually super consistent. I especially love the gimmick that floor 10 uses with the insta-kill spinner in the middle. Like, you know you won when you get up there, but it's still not over yet. It's not a feeling that can easily be put into words, but it's very well done and a really good ending to a tower like this. Here's a quick question. What something micromanagement, alien radiance, and triple W all have in common? It's that each tower only uses songs by one artist the whole time. Well, mostly. The result? A very consistent atmosphere. All of those towers stay visually and audibly consistent from start to finish, and it makes them very memorable. When I replayed this tower, I couldn't help but listen to the music for a little bit. It was even a little nostalgic to me. Like the aforementioned towers, the music complements the style perfectly. I believe the best example of this tower's music picks is floor 8. The end of floor 7 is one of the hardest segments in the entire tower, and it's over nothing. It's practically an outside section, really. When you pass it, you reach floor 8, and your chances at winning skyrocket. The tower demands that you must know that this run could be the one that wins. How does it do that? Absolutely incredible. You don't know what this feels like unless you've actually been here. This tower is genuinely what I would imagine in my head if you told me to picture an average, good, terrifying tower. It's super fun to play, but there's no special gimmick or over-the-top modernistic design or client objects. Really a great tower if that's what you're looking for. I could say I highly recommend this as a first or second terrifying. Yay! That was a fun tower. That was a really fun tower. Let's go, bro. Alright, I have a confession. I beat ToI 7 months ago. I had a lock-in for school. There were some delays. Well, that's not important, but what is important is that there's 3 more terrifyings than there originally was when I started working on this. And the game even changed owners because Juke was terrible. Anyways, all of the new terrifyings are actually really great, and this is the first one on this list. I have absolutely no idea why they decided to throw this random old tower into Ring 9 one day, but no complaints from me because I think it's really fun. It's overall about what you'd expect from a terrifying tower, but it also has this big gap between 5 and 6. It's nice because you get to try to land on the teleporter back to 6 when you fail the second half, but it's also really annoying because you can't see into the darker floors when you're above them. And you even get flung. It's a little bit annoying, but I suppose the gap is better than there not being one. Anyways, I feel the general consensus on this tower is that it's not that great. I don't know why that is. This tower is visually very interesting and it has good gameplay. Nothing too notable, but it's pretty fun, got consistent. I am in Stratus Tower to hell and back, bro. You would never expect this tower of all towers to be stratable, but I promise it is. If you're struggling with this, you can feel free to watch me play it, bro. I'd strat everything. I'm actually so nasty at stratting, though. Look at this. Alright, yeah, sorry I made you watch that, but overall, this tower is pretty fun. I think it's a good terrifying to beat since it's quite consistent and it's also short. You also usually stay on the second half for quite a good amount of time when you get up there, since you typically only lose second half runs to being flung or failing 8 out. Also, shout out to Chump for failing the last 2 floors of this tower like 60 times. You're so good at this game, brother.
I did it! Oh my god! I beat Uncanny Agony! Oh my god! I beat it! I beat it! I beat it! I beat Uncanny Agony! Oh my god! I did it! Yes! Yes! I beat it! I beat it! I beat it! Oh my god! Oh my god! I beat Uncanny Agony! Oh my god!
Okay, this one would have been my favorite terrifying by a lot if I wasn't so slow making this. This tower isn't as popular as I think it should be. If I had to guess, the culprit here is probably the button progress. So here's a PSA. The button progress is not that good. Guys, 9 out is easy, 1 is easy, 4 is easy, 7 out is consistent. You don't need to put 8-hour sessions into this tower. You can just leave. Floor 7 even has a skip if you want it, just be sure to get the button first. Anyways, this tower is just really fun. The gameplay's fun. It's not much to say. It has really, really good use of client objects, especially fading platforms and beat blocks. It has the perfect amount of button progress as well, enough to make it worthwhile to keep playing, but not enough to make it worthwhile to AFK for 8 hours. Another interesting thing about this tower is that every jump is easier than it looks. I don't know why that is, but I promise they're just easier than they look like they are. Another highlight of this tower is the final stretch. I mean, it's so impossible. I don't know why the Taun's final stretch is notable, but not this one. Look at this gameplay. I cannot believe I fluked this final stretch. Like, it's impossible. Look at it. Alright, jokes aside, please beat this. It's like ToAR, where it's not an over-the-top tower like I'd say the last 2 are, but it's still incredible and absolutely worth completing. I recommend this to anyone with mid-terrifying skill, because it's a really good new hardest. I'll also leave you with a god strat for this stupid lodge at the end of 7. It's just, here's the only way to do it. Oh, just don't fumble. Don't fumble it. Yes! Oh my god, I'm nervous. I went so fast on those last 4. Oh my god, bro. Alright. Oh my god, bro. That tower was phenomenal. Nice. I'm sure a lot of people are watching right now and wondering why this isn't my favorite one, and honestly, I couldn't tell you. It was a hard pick between this tower and the other one, but I think I honestly just preferred this one because I got a little bit luckier. I did say it was based on personal bias after all. Both this tower and the one I picked for number 1 are very second half heavy with extremely difficult final floors, and I just had more fails on this one. I don't know what to tell you. Before I get into what's good about this tower, I'm going to tell you everything that is terrible about it. Alright, I'm going to be completely honest. I was going to have a part here about how the only flaw with this tower is this stupid rope swing at the start of floor 9. But, they nerfed it, so I guess no more victors of this tower will ever have to suffer with this dumb rope swing ever again, bro. It's so inconsistent. Yeah, this tower is incredible. It is a really, really CO heavy tower, and the gameplay flows super well from one jump to the next, and you can play a lot of this tower really quickly once you pick it up. The tower is a little bit learny, but it gets really consistent once you get the hang of it. They even made custom sound effects for all the client objects, which I think is just so cool. This tower also utilizes pressure flings, like, a lot. I don't know how they came up with this design for them, but it's basically 100% consistent, and it allows for a lot of interesting, unique, and wacky jumps that are really interesting. You don't usually see a lot of towers that use pressure flings in them, but this one does. Another gimmick this tower uses is these client objects that manipulate time to make it go faster or slower. And what I find incredible about these is that they actually aren't CCOs, at least according to jtoh Wiki, and instead they are made up by speed, jump, and gravity changers. They come in the form of both zones and buttons, and they make for some pretty cool gameplay mechanics. I do believe, however, that floor 9 and 10 are a weak point of this tower. Not because they're bad, but because they're just a little annoying. The atmosphere up there is absolutely incredible, and the gameplay up there is perhaps the best in the whole tower. It's just that they are so hard compared to the rest of the floors, and there's absolutely nothing you can do if you fall up there. I should also mention that the first 8 floors of the tower are generally pretty forgiving and also really short, so once you get good at them, getting back to 9 is usually not an issue. In conclusion, I absolutely adore this tower. It's a really good first terrifying option, especially if you like client objects. And I definitely think anyone who can beat this should, again, especially if you love client objects. It's a really fun tower.
Yes! 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 Oh my god, I did it! Yes! 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 Oh my god! Yes! Oh my god.
This tower is so peak. It's just so peak. You cannot lie. It's just so unbelievably peak. I have a strong feeling that if you don't like this, it's either because of the insta-kills or that you just got unlucky with 9 and 10. And I get that, but I don't care. This tower is just too fun. It relies on the same falling blocks Wicked Fortress uses, but it explores them in ways that Wicked Fortress did not. This tower is also a nerve control beast, but I think the Windows 96 music helps a lot. It helped me, at least. Instead of telling you why this tower is so fun, I think I'll just show you. As you can see, the gameplay in this tower is really good, and I could have made that part like 4 minutes longer if I wanted to. I also love that this tower does not take itself seriously at all. It teaches its mechanics with this little guy on floor 1, and then it has these guys Bill and Humphrey just chilling around the tower doing things. This tower also names a lot of its more complex jumps, and it even names the falling blocks that you can use to save yourself with some interesting names. The tower also uses some slides to transition between segments. It's very cool. And also it gives the greatest aura ever, bro. Look at this peak. The one downside I think people have with this tower is the insta-kills. Yes, falling does insta-kill you like 90% of the time, but I think there's a lot about this tower that makes the insta-kills much less damaging. First off, most hard jumps or inconsistent jumps are netted, so when you fall you can just try them again. And secondly, the first half of the tower is pretty easy relative to the second half, and also a lot shorter, so it's easy to get back. And third, this tower has so much replayability value that I honestly just couldn't care about replaying the first few floors. You usually get through them before you even know it. And just like ToCav, this tower is so insanely consistent that the first floors become a non-problem very early on to the average grind. If it's not the insta-kills that you don't like this, it must be because it's in the laggiest area of all time. Why did they need to put 100,000 parts in this lobby? Why? Why? Although I love this tower to death, I wouldn't recommend doing it as a new hardest, unless you're really confident. If you do it as a hardest, it's likely you will start loop failing 9 and 10, and that isn't fun. I mean, you can do it as a hardest, but definitely practice a lot or else the tower will get monotonous. The tower does get boring eventually, but for that to happen, you have to be really consistent for like 70 hours of a grind. I didn't beat this in what I would classify as a timely manner, and I still loved every second of it. Seriously, if you have the skill for this, please beat it. You will not regret it. Alright, please stick around for a minute because I have a bit I want to say. I made this with the expectation that no one would actually watch it all the way through, so thank you for doing just that. This is my first time actually trying to edit something, so I would greatly appreciate feedback on what was good and bad about this. I don't care if you don't do it, but it would make me happy. Thank you to all of these people who watched the video early and gave me feedback. I will leave off with this. I see people ask for what their first Terrifying should be a lot, or even what their first SC should be. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you don't just take whoever you ask's words and actually try them out for yourself. Skill sets vary from person to person, and what someone thinks is fun and easy might be difficult and bad for you. Good luck!